Hello, Canada. Welcome back to another edition of the Canadian Citizen Journal. I'm your host, Elias Tagay. Well, we're going to kind of touch on just some of the rallies that are going on and pick out some clips out of there, some really crazy things that are being said. Carney kind of getting busted with a little bit few more lies. Jagmeet Singh literally embarrassing the daylights out of himself. We got Legault saying Canada's not serious and crime wide open in the streets. Another great, crazy day. Actually, the rallies I'm going to cover are for the last couple days here. Let's just start right off here. This is Pierre Poilievre. This is his Saskatoon rally. Look at the numbers this guy pulled in. Excuse me. Ooh, sneeze. Look at the crowds. Craziness. Now this is at that rally. I have to play this. Poilievre he's quite the entertainer. He's his rallies are something else. I'm hoping I can sneak by to one of them before election here, but it's not looking very good. Let's just take a listen here to what he has to say.
We were running around. So when I was a farmer, I was outstanding in my field. Is that what you're saying? I used to jump on the trampoline. I used to steal the dirt bike. I used to fire the rifle. I used to cause all kinds of mayhem. It was like going to Disneyland when we came to Saskatchewan. As a city boy from Calgary, there are all these toys, these big combines. I get to go ride in the combine out in the middle of the field. An incredible memory. And we used to come. Who's this guy? What's your name? Oscar. Come on and say hello, Oscar. Come on over, Oscar. Come on, Oscar. You want to come up on the stage? Come on. It's okay. And why did you come here today, Oscar? He's a good kid. Everybody give it a round of applause for Oscar. Way to go, Oscar. We love you. He's a great kid. And he's wearing the right color as well, eh? Smart kid. Good to see you, Oscar. Better days are coming. We're doing this for our kids, for Oscar, for all the kids that are in the crowd today. But before I get into this, there's an emergency. Do we have a firefighter in the house? Do you see? You have a firefighter? Okay. Mark Carney's pants are on fire again today. Can you help? Can you help? Did you hear his latest whopper? Yeah, today, Mark Carney was caught lying about the Trump telephone call because he wanted to distract from the lost Liberal decade of rising cost and crime to trick Canadians into electing Liberals for a fourth disastrous term. Monsieur Carney a été attrapé dans un mensonge par rapport à l'appel avec Donald Trump.
Your pants are on fire. Okay. Now, he also, excuse me, I got sneezes. He's also had a rally in Calgary. Check this out. Now, there's music playing, so I gotta leave it quiet here. But look at the people. Packed. Now, I believe they said it was 4,000 plus in Saskatoon. I haven't got any confirmation on numbers there, but this looks like it's almost twice the size. So I'm guessing there's 6,500, maybe even more. Like, that whole hangar is packed. Music. Yeah, it's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. We'll take a brief listen to what he has to say.
And some good news. It's just bad news for the politicians here. It's good news for everybody else. I made it a little announcement today. Did you catch it? Did you make some adjustments to your plans? So here's the plan, my friends. We can't wait for change. So I've announced that we're going to have 100 days of change. We are going to pass 3 major bills in the first 100 days. Here's what they are. There's the Affordability for a Change Act, which will cut taxes, bureaucracy, and spending. There is the Safety for a Change Act, which will crack down on crime and drugs. And there's the Bring It Home Our Jobs for a Change Act, which will repeal the anti-energy laws and cut taxes on investment. We want all of these things passed within 100 days. 100 days of change. That's the good news. The bad news for the politicians is I've said that I'm canceling the summer vacation on Parliament Hill until all these bills are passed.
Right on.
Canadians need change more than politicians need vacations. You agree with that?
I think every Canadian can jump on board with that.
So all the politicians, you can go sell your golf clubs on eBay. Get rid of your little cottage, your cabin. You're not going to be using it this summer. You can rent it out to a deserving family that needs a break. What other plans are you canceling? Shuv, what were you going to do? Yeah, he didn't have any other plans than to work. That's the kind of guy we need in Parliament. Over.
Yeah, these rallies are just they're crazy. They're absolutely crazy packed. This is the one that he had in Nanoose Bay here. This was just last night.
A very good introduction from your local candidate and future member of Parliament, Tamara Cronus. Give it up for her. She has not stopped working since the last election. People say they've seen more of her in the last 4 years than they've seen of the incumbent MP in their entire lives. She never stops door knocking. In fact, it's become a problem. The other night, she was out knocking, and it got to be 8:30, and people on her team said, maybe we should wrap it up. She said, no, we're going to do a few more doors. And so she kept knocking. And it got to 9 o'clock. And people said, you're going to start waking people up and losing votes. She said, no, it's so important. We need change in this country. So she kept going. 9:30, she won't stop. It's coming on to 10 o'clock. The lights are out in all the houses. She says, okay, fine. One more door at 10:01. She goes up to this house, lights are out, rings the doorbell. All of a sudden, babies are crying. So a few minutes later, the door smashed open, and it was a very angry woman. She said, you just woke up my 1-year-old triplets. And my husband, who is a Russian weightlifter, is just getting dressed to come down and have a word with you. She said, that won't be necessary. Just tell him that the local NDP candidate came by to say hello. Quick thinking. Well done. We want change.
Oh, that's too funny. This guy is absolutely hilarious. So, yeah, we definitely want some change going on. It's pretty crazy. Now, check this out. This happened. Oh, this is just crazy. Broad daylight heist in a small town, Canada. Grimsby, Ontario. Daylight heist. A bank robbery. Somebody said this is the third time it's robbed. I didn't have time to fact check that, but now watch this. There's a real Canadian comes out. Crowbarring. You go, boy. Good job. Broad daylight.
There they go!
There's another one where a guy backs the truck right into the front, and they all run in and rob this jewelry store right in broad daylight. This is crazy. Canada, we gotta get rid of this government. We gotta get laws back in. Just so embarrassing. Moving on here to Carney. Get a load of this.
Je sais, mais c'est une spéculation. Non. On a une situation maintenant. Une crise.
Good morning, Bill
morning.
Curry from the Globe and Mail. On the issue of ethics and transparency, Canada's ethics laws have been widely criticized as inadequate, particularly as a check on the Prime Minister's office and his powers. On access to information, the system is bogged down, excessive redactions. It's viewed as not working. Yet your platform is essentially silent on those two issues. So what commitments are you prepared to make to improve Canada's ethics regime and access to information system?
Yeah. To be honest, the guy's already broke ethic laws, and he's not even in government yet. And if you're a follower and you're a subscriber, you already know previous episodes. Like I've shown so much of like the evil and just this guy's so corrupt. Yeah, ethic laws. Let's hear it, Carney.
I think, Bill, you asked an important question. Yes, it's not in the platform. It's in my head.
Great.
So I will now, against the advice of my advisors, let it out of my head, which is I do think looking at access to information is quite important. The speed with which the information is provided, and as you say, the redactions that I think, I'm happy to commit to having a review of that, because I do find that, at least as an outsider, I've been an outsider
he's an outsider. He's an outsider.
until now, and as a consumer of it, that I sometimes can't always follow the process, if you will. So an objective review of that would serve Canadians well, regardless of the result of the election. Thank you.
Ethics?
Look, I think there have been a number of reinforcements over the course of the last decade on the ethics side.
No, there hasn't. Other than the Liberals have broke them. They broke more than any other period all added up combined. This guy's just so full of shit.
I think that I would distinguish between the rules and the conduct. If there are specific proposals, obviously we would look at them. But what's important is bringing that spirit of obviously the highest integrity. I think my track record is consistent with that, but also that commitment that goes with it to transparency, which was the second part of your question. Thank you.
Next question.
What? What? You're an outsider? Really? Now, check the date out on this. 4 years ago. 4 years ago. Right?
Just as COVID hit the...
And he was actually already talking to Trudeau 7 years ago. This is just when he was actually brought on.
West, accepting a high-level post at the United Nations, and now advising the Trudeau government.
I think what this government is doing is getting the most senior voices at the table to help navigate the economic crisis of our time that we find ourselves in. And it is not uncommon to have governments seek outside support. It's something that we want to ensure that Canada comes on top of.
The Honourable.
So, what was that? You're an outsider? Right. This is where the media has to call him out. And they don't. Call him out. You don't have to question him on it. Just call him out. And just say, no, that's not true. We know for a fact 4 years ago you were actually literally brought on. Because even 7 years ago it wasn't necessarily an official, even though they knew they were talking. He was constantly in the news with them. So at least, go by the facts and say, well, that's not true. Because, 4.5 years ago, you were brought on. But they don't. They won't. They won't do it. Media, it's so lame. Now, get a kick out of He's Blanchette. Now, actually, he's supposed to be doing really well in the polls, which is great, because I'd rather have the Bloc than the Liberals. The Bloc is a useless party, but whatever it takes to get the Liberals out, I'm game.
You said that you were an MP in a foreign parliament.
Yeah.
A foreign parliament.
You are working pretty hard to hold the balance of power of that parliament. Isn't it this the definition of foreign interference?
We are, either we like it or not, part of an artificial country with very little meaning called Canada. Many people in Canada...
I'm going to rewind that. Listen carefully.
And say, une stratégie souverainiste à ceux qui auront la prérogative.
You are working pretty hard to hold the balance of power of that parliament. Isn't it this the definition of foreign interference?
We are, either we like it or not, part of an artificial country with very little meaning called Canada.
An artificial country with very little meaning called Canada. That's a new one. Okay. I don't know what planet he's living on, but okay.
Many people in Canada write to me and say, we'd like to have the same as Quebec has. As long as we're part of it and we get elected in this parliament, we are entitled to any right and privilege and opportunity being provided by the persons who vote. And I will relinquish none of them. And if it's a foreign parliament, because this nation is not mine. I don't feel more at ease in the Canadian Parliament than Mrs. Smith would feel at ease in the Assemblée nationale du Québec.
Prochaine question.
Now, this is strategy. He knows outside of Canada, or outside of Quebec, he's not going to pick up any votes because there are none to be taken by his party. He's strictly a provincial party. All he cares about is Quebec. And I've talked about this, and even talked about bills and stuff that he's passed that has screwed Canada, where the only way that he said he would vote with the minority government to put him in is if he could guarantee abstinence on his province, so that none of those would happen to... So he's literally voting for hardship on Canada, but making sure that nothing happens within that bill to Quebec. It literally goes against the Constitution, people. It goes against all of what is Canada. He's admitting it openly right there in the... Literally, so what he's saying is, he is, like the reporter said, a form of foreign interference. If he's saying that Quebec isn't part of Canada, but yet he has the power to have people within the federal government, he's actually a foreign body. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. This party should never have been allowed to have federal status. Ever. I keep saying it over and over and over, and there it is. Boom. He literally just said the quiet part out loud. But do you know why he did it? Because the Separatist Party, as a provincial party, is like soaring in the polls. When they have their provincial election, the Separatists are probably going to take a majority. He's clinging on to that separatist movement. The same separatist ideals from Trudeau. That's Saskatchewan, Alberta, a little bit of Manitoba, and a fair amount of Quebec, or of BC, are thinking of, especially Alberta and Saskatchewan. Way more people on the prairies than Quebec's got. How bad is the Liberal Party? You're going to vote for this Liberal Party you really got to give your head a shake. Like I've said it on many other episodes, if you vote for the Liberals, you're voting for the 51st state, and it'll be you. It'll be Ontario, Atlantic Canada. You guys will be the guys that'll be stuck being the 51st state, because you won't survive on your own when Alberta and Saskatchewan leave and Quebec leaves. And I guarantee you, BC won't stay together with what's left of Canada. They will join the West. They will. It'll be inevitable. It may take a few years, but they will join. It'll happen. Like, this is crazy. He just said the quiet part out loud. Unbelievable. I am glad this is going to be on tape. So, there it is. You can't delete it. I've got my own file saved. Perfect. Thank you very much, Yves Blanchette. You goofball. And then yesterday, this was, again, trying to pick up seats, these politicians.
Just this rhetoric between you and Mr. Singh of the NDP seems to be ratcheting up quite a lot. Isn't there a world where neither of you will get the results you wanted on Monday and your parties will actually have to work together in Parliament? And how will you do it when you keep insulting each other?
Last time we had an opportunity to sometimes work together. They basically insulted us and went to bed with the Liberals. I don't expect it to be any better. And they made a good decision, however, because they created kind of a controversy which gives them exposure, which they wouldn't have had otherwise.
Merci tout le monde. Ceci met fin à la conférence de presse.
Unbelievable, and the wars are on. Before I get to Jagmeet, more veterans have come forward saying that they were offered the MAID program. Two-tour Afghanistan combat veteran David Balzer was also offered immediately assisted suicide in December 2019, making him one of the first CAF soldiers offered made by a VAC caseworker. He came seeking help, but says he was instead offered to be offed. I will share this article. You can go through it. I've talked about it on previous episodes. This just keeps adding up. It's because we've got the Liberals have literally ran every single aspect into the ground. And you got to remember, the NDP helped them. It's the Liberal NDP coalition. They all voted together. They've decimated our military, decimated our hospitalization, decimated our Medicare, they've just every aspect of society, all promising. It's all, we're gonna give you, and they keep sucking these greedy people who just don't care about Canada. All they care about is themselves, and they're not seeing what they're doing to the country as our debt skyrockets. This election is really going to be, like I said, it's the most important in my lifetime for sure, and I actually think it's the most important in Canadian history, because if the Liberals are voted in, especially if they do get a majority, which I don't think they're going to get, but if they get a majority, the West is gone. Saskatchewan and Alberta are gone. 4 years, 5 years, because there is no coming back. Even if they get booted out in 2 years by some lucky chance, which isn't going to happen. They'll do their 4 years. It's going to happen. This will be the final straw. There's enough people talking about it. There's already coalitions joining up. They're actually starting to get ready to line up a date to start the referendum. They're canvassing. It's going to happen. It's really sad. It's really sad what the Liberals have done. What greedy people. That's the best way to put it. What greedy people have done to our nation. All they care about is themselves. Now, speaking of care about yourselves, here's a great example of a greedy man, a socialist, full-fledged socialist. I'm going to give you the world, and those that work, I'm going to take everything from you in order to do it. And when the world comes crumbling down, it wasn't my fault. We'll blame Harper. We'll blame Johnny McDonald. We'll blame anybody. This guy is the worst, just the worst. Listen to the vitriol that comes out.
And finally, at the time, I could not stomach the idea of Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives forming a majority government. I knew that was going to be bad.
So the question was, do you regret not voting earlier so that you would have had Trudeau and none of this Carney and your poll numbers were higher? And he goes off and he says, no, I did it because of dental care. I didn't do it because of my pension. I did it but Poilievre's going to get a way bigger pension. Poilievre, he's been in it for so long, he's already pensioned. His pension just goes up a little wee bit every year. And he deserves it. He's been a sitting politician for what, 18 years or something? I mean, come on, give the guy a break. Now, this is later on, he was asked the question again.
And for me, for both those reasons, because I wanted dental care and pharmacare to be realized by people so they could actually benefit from it, so we could defend it and expand it, and because I couldn't stomach the idea of Pierre Poilievre forming a majority government, I made that decision.
Thank you. And Mark Carney said this morning in response to a question that he would be open to electoral reform only after the Trump crisis is dealt with and other priorities. Can you give your reaction to that? And would it be a red line for your support for his government?
I say this with respect.
Okay, you heard what he just said, right? And he said it twice, that he purposely stayed on because he knew if he had an election, the Conservatives were going to win. And he did not want the Conservatives to win. This is right after. Listen to what he says.
Respect, and a little bit sadly, but never trust a liberal.
If you're voting liberal, listen to what this guy just said.
For your support for his government. Thank you. And Mark Carney said this morning and
dangerous things, and for me, for both those reasons, because I wanted dental care and pharmacare to be realized by people so they could actually benefit from it, so we could defend it and expand it, and because I couldn't stomach the idea of Pierre Poilievre forming a majority government, I made that decision.
Thank you. And Mark Carney said this morning in response to a question that he would be open to electoral reform only after the Trump crisis is dealt with and other priorities. Can you give your reaction to that? And would it be a red line for your support for his government?
I say this with respect and a little bit sadly, but never trust a liberal.
How can you possibly say that with respect? And then say never trust a liberal. But before all of it, say that you sacrificed Canada because you didn't want the Conservatives to win. I think this guy is slightly challenged. I really do. He's reading from both ends of the book. He's burnt both ends of the candle. I'm glad he's being decimated in the polls. This type of talk just proves this man is incompetent, will say or do anything for power. In professional terms, dictionary terms, it would be a psychopath. Sociopath, psychopath. Has no worry about feelings of others, no care about the environment or anything around him. All he cares about is himself looking good and profiting and doing well. That is what he pretty much just proved to Canada right there. All in the same, this is all happening. This was in, the parties continue defending healthcare in Parliament. Doesn't even say where the hell he was. Not that it matters anyways. This guy's unbelievable. Unbelievable. And the kids are speaking up. There are thousands of these all over social media. From you name it. Like they're everywhere. TikToks, X, Facebook. Let's listen to a few of them. They're quite good.
I know I'm not into politics, but what's happening in Canada is scary. We don't feel safe in our own neighborhoods. Sleeping at night knowing that at any second someone could just break in. Your business, everything you've built for 30 plus years is beginning to hurt. And honestly, I'm scared for my future. I'm scared that I'll never be able to own my own home when I'm older. Even thinking about the future feels hopeless sometimes. You've always done everything you could in your guys' power to give me a better life, to give me and my siblings a better future. Now I'm asking for your help to protect it. Please, vote Conservative. Give Canada another chance. I'm posting this video for my parents, and I'm asking you to do the same. I'm challenging you to all have the same talk with your parents. Post your videos about how you had the talk with them. Let's make this conversation go viral.
They never end.
You guys have worked very hard, bought a house, done everything right in the aspect of life, raised kids, worked hard. But yeah, times have changed. Canada is no longer what it is. You guys voted Liberal in the past, and that's okay. Listen, that's okay. In this election, I need you to think about me and the younger generation. Cost of living, number one, is way too expensive. The streets, number two, are super dangerous. And number three, the economy is super, super down. Mom and Dad, please think about these three aspects when you are thinking of your future grandkids, my kids, God willing. And yeah, vote Conservative. I'm challenging my friends to make videos talking to their parents and making videos to their parents.
Dad, Grandma, Grandpa, when you came here to Toronto 25 years ago, you came here with the Canadian dream. You worked hard, you bought a house, you put your kids through school, you gave us a great education, and we're so grateful for that. You voted Liberal to help your lives as immigrants. But it's my first time voting, and I look outside, and it's not that world anymore. It's a different world. The housing prices. I work in tech. How am I going to buy a house for myself before I'm 40? We don't have that luxury anymore. Guys, we got to buckle down. It's game time now. It's time to vote. And it's time to vote Conservative. Everyone watching this video, to your friends, to my friends, we got to have these conversations. To our parents, to everyone that can look outside and see that Canada needs a turnaround. We got to bring this.
And they just keep going. They go on and on and on. I'm so glad to see this. The sad part is a lot of the generation that's suffering the most aren't able to vote, and there are a lot of first-time voters. And I'm really happy to see that the demographics for Poilievre are a lot of the younger. They're actually the majority of them, from what I've seen, are the ones who actually first voted and followed Trudeau. Those seem to be the largest demographic pushing for Conservatives, admitting what they were told was a lie, understanding the consequences because they're seeing it in real time, and seeing that escalation in everything in their life, from food prices, houses, gas, vehicles, everything. In the meantime, their wages are stagnant. Very good news. I'm tickled right pink. And like I said, you can just go on TikTok, go on Facebook, go on and just punch in the search. You will be amazed at how many you will find. They're everywhere. And kudos. I mean, I'm impressed. I'm thoroughly impressed. And like I exposed there on my earlier episode there, when I just kind of blew CBC apart into pieces, you can see the talking points from those who are brainwashed, because they keep saying the same lies. I'm not a card holder. I don't vote for a party. I wasn't born blue. I wasn't born red. I was born a Canadian. I'm not married to a party. I'm married to an idea. And I use my vote in a constructive way on what I think is the best for my country. So a lot of people come off and they say, you seem really conservative. And I'm like, you know what? I have voted Liberal. I've never voted for Trudeau. Years ago, I voted for Liberals. I've never voted NDP. I'm not a socialist. That's when we had a not bad, but that's pretty much when the Liberals and Conservatives were fairly the same, but the leaders had a completely different vision. And I'm a penny pincher. I believe in freedom. I don't believe in wasting taxpayers' dollars. To be honest, there's no Libertarian Party, so there's nobody else to vote for. I use my vote as a sway in order to make sure that at least the better of two, until we can build another party up or find a better party to build up, which we've just never had. And the reason for that is our media. All the parties should be at the debates. A party can't grow if you can't hear their platform. If you keep the foot on their head and keep them underwater, you will never be able to build a party up. And this is what our propaganda television, that's probably their biggest destructive power to Canada, is the way that they suppress the actual democracy from Canadians. They stop people from seeing the reality of protests against the government. This has happened for generations, from when I was my first camp out big protest against Wall Street. There was, like I said, there was hundreds of thousands of us across Canada. There was over 1.5 million or 2 million in the States. It was a huge, huge protest. We got zero media time. A lot of us woke up. We realized, wow, there is total media control. That's why I need you to like, share, and subscribe. And if you are, punch that notification bell so you don't miss any future episodes. Until next time, you guys, I'm Alias the Guy. You've been watching the Canadian Citizen Journal. Stay informed.